all for joining me for another episode of Paint with Heart. This is Cindy Harrison, your host and artist in residence, and my bestie, my co-host, Melissa Reyes, is at the Connect Her conference in Las Vegas this week. So she may or may not be popping in later to say hello and to show all the women who are interested in business the benefits are of being on a live broadcast, what benefits it is to your business. So in the meantime, if you are watching the replay, thank you for joining us on the replay. And if you are here live, of course, we love that. And we wish that you on replay could be here with us live. So it's I think, the next best thing to going to a classroom. So let's get started. This week we are doing angel eyes, and I'll be showing you how to paint two different sets of eyes. And I painted these on a tin box I got at the dollar store. They probably had some kind of decoration on the top. But I started by lightly sanding them and then wiping them down with some rubbing alcohol and then spraying them with Rusto-Leum's primer. And I gave it a couple coats of primer, as you see here. Let that dry in between coats, and then we can start putting our design on and painting. So I'm going to start with the cat eyes. I put my tracing on, as you see. Pretty much all I did was trace on the eye, and if I gave you a little bit of a nose pattern here, so you can put that on. The rest of it kind of will go with the direction of when you get there, if you need to have those lines with the direction of the fur and how the fur grows. I base coated the outside of the eye with lamp black, the pupils lamp black, and then I put a coat of foliage green here in the middle of the eye, what we call the iris. So I'm going to take a little bit of that foliage green, and I'm going to use my 4 round. And I'm going to put one more coat. Try to get it a little bit more opaque, a little bit more solid. And if I go over the black, it's okay because I can then go back with the black later and do some repair there. You can always take your brush, clean it out, and wipe off the area that went over it if you want to do it right now while the green's still wet. Okay. I'm going to quickly blow dry that. Now what I did was I had some plastic. It's a very thin layer of plastic film. And I cut a stencil of an eye, as you can see. I cut a stencil of an eye out. I'm going to place that over my eye. And then I'm going to take a deerfoot brush, a small one, and some Hauser dark green. You only need a touch of that. And I'm actually going to use my 14 flat to take some clean water, and I'm going to pre-wet the eye. And then load my deerfoot brush. Tap it out a lot so you don't have a lot of paint on your brush, and then go over the watered area, the eye. If you need to tap it out, you tap it out. So I tapped out a little bit. If you get the green too dark, the Hauser dark green is too dark, then you go and wash your brush out and tap it off. It's got texture in the eye. Okay. So now I'm going to take that off. Make sure I didn't get any green around the gray area. By the way, that's base coated with Dove Gray to start over top of the white background. Okay. Now I'm going to take my liner brush. I have like a 10-aught, and I'm going to load that with some of the dark Hauser dark, and I'm going to line the inside and the outside here. So the left and right sides. I'm not going all the way under because the eyelid will have covered that part of the eye. So I'm just going on the left and the right. I'm going to pick up a little bit and do little lines that will go towards the center of the eye, but they're very short dashes that come around. They're not so long at the bottom because remember the full eye is behind the eyelid. Start on this side and bring them towards the center. Don't make them all the same length. Some are longer, some are shorter. Take your I'm going to use a 14 flat, side loaded with some of that dark Hauser dark green, and I'm going to go across the top. We want to add a little bit of a highlight happening here, so I'm going to make sure that's dry first, and then we can add some water. But again, make sure that's dry. Add some water. Make sure your AC or wind or whatever is not drying that out. Take some Snow White, and you can take your fine liner if you want. I'm going to make sure that's white, and then I'm going to add my highlight. First off, I'm going to go across the top here. I'm just tapping it in and then tapping it off with my finger. And I'm going to do a little one along here, little line. You can either take your finger or your mop brush, whichever you need, but it's going to match this one that I put over here. And they'll dry lighter, so you might have to go back and add a second one after to strengthen that. Now for the corners of the eyes, I went with some Dove Gray. And I'm going to make sure that most of the water is out of my little brush. If you want to bump up to, let's see, this is a #1 flat. And I'm trying to take all the water out of my brush. And I'm going to pick up some Dove Gray. And on like a kind of a dry brush kind of thing, I'm going to do a little stroke on the outside edges. One that's about 1/4 of an inch in, you know, about 2/3 the way in, and then a little V in the center here. So this is a little V here. And then a little stroke here. And if you need to pre-wet, you can do that. I'm going to add a stroke down the side. And there's actually a little V on this side in the photograph that I have. If you want to put that in. And then a stroke up here. If it gets too light and you don't want it that light, go back with your black and soften that out with a wash. And I think I can go a little bit further out on the bottom. Okay. That's pretty much that eye, really. I mean, it's not a lot more involved than that, amazingly enough. Take a mop. It really isn't that more involved. If you need to transfer on your hairlines, what direction you're going in, you can do that. And I'll hold off on a second and check in with you all. How you doing, Kathy?
Pretty good. But first of all, I can show you. I dipped into into my black rather than the dark Hauser to begin with. So I would have to.
Look, move it up. Oh, there you go. Oh, but that looks really good.
But I think my lines could be finer.
Yeah, that's okay because you can do that later, but the eyes look really good over the camera, so that's great. On the fur, so it starts at the base of the nose and goes up and out and then comes down his whisker area and over. So in some areas here, it's kind of like dots because the fur is coming straight at you versus actually lying down. I did put patterns on your line drawing that indicate darker patches of fur. So if we stick this back on here, I can put on here that we've got this dark patch here, dark patch here. This is going that way. These are coming this way, and there's like a dark patch here, dark patch here. And then these are going like that. So let's see what we got going on. Got a dark patch there, so let's see how this all works itself out. I found to work best for this technique is the sharp 1/4 inch filbert comb. And I'm going to show you how to load that properly so that you'll get the best out of it that you can get. Loosen it up with some water. Get that water out of your brush, not all of it, but some of it. And I'm going to start by adding the darker patches with the lamp black. and I pull away from the puddle on both sides of my brush. And then now I'm going to put them at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to wiggle, 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 wiggle backwards. I mean, back and forth like this, so that the hairs, see how they, can you see how they splay out? Okay. Now I'm going to go where my dark patches are, and I'm going to pull toward me. In the angle that this, the fur would grow. This one here, I could do a little bit here. I did that more for direction, not necessarily because he had any markings there at all. I'm going to bring these a little wider, go up. The nose is going to go up. You need to go get more. Now with the nose area, it's kind of like the hairs are straight on, like I told you. So I am going to kind of do dots at this section that's between the nose and the cheek. So that's where the eyes, that's where it starts being really kind of wonky. On the nose, I didn't explain to you on the nose how I painted it with the graphite, and then I put on those two little holes, nose holes, and painted those in with lamp black. I just was so excited to get moving on to the cat itself. The next color is going to be graphite. Load that, get that water out, load that, fan out those hairs. And now I'm going to start and pull a few of those away from the nose and mouth area, the cheek. Short little hairs moving away. From the nose, and up here, I start adding some of those more dots. And where the black overlap, add some of these grays to tie the black in. Sometimes you go over some of the black a little bit. Don't rush your brush down too far. You get that gray splotch that I just made. So try to keep it up on the hairs. I'm going to bring this away from the nose, over his eye, forehead, into the black, out of the black. Over the lid, and then start to come down under the eye. And if you go over the black eyelid, guess what? You can go back with black and fix it later. Just kind of softly put some markings in here. Little short hairs. We're going to cover this with 2 more colors. So we're going to be fine. A lot of dots. When you don't know what the direction the hair is going in, just dot it. It will be fine. So if you feel that you need to go back and make the black area a little wider, thicker like I did here, just go back and pick up some of that black and go ahead and make it a little thicker. Okay, the next color, and this is all layers, that's all it is. Layer on layer on layer of color is Gray Storm. It's a little lighter than Graphite. We're just building the layers. So start at the bottom, work your way up in between the darks. You don't want to cover the darks. You can go into them a little bit, but you don't want to cover them completely. It really helps if you load the brush. Try to stay up on the 90-degree angle. Tap, tap, tap. You can make gray stripes and not have the whole area be grayed up. And tapping and pulling away, pull away. Swooping, swooping, swooping. If you're under the chin, they're going to come down from the chin, underneath the mouth part. So I can go in with the black and I can pull some of those down. Okay, let's go and make a few of these a little darker under his cheek area, like we did over there. Okay. The next lightest gray color is the Dove Gray. So if you lost any Dove Gray and you want to put it back in there, now is the time to do that. However, I'm going to go right to the white now. Picking up the white, displaying it on my palette, and I'm going to start by drawing lightly, lightly, lightly some of these hairs away from the nose. Have them overlap a little bit into the dark. And then up the nose here. You can kind of dot that area, or you can leave the white out of there so that it doesn't take too much, bring too much attention to that area. I'll bring some of this white hairs over the black and the darker gray, breaking up some of that. Around the eye, the top of the eye is quite white, so you might want to make that definitely a brighter white. Bring some of that through. Don't press too hard. Maybe have a little bit of moisture in your brush. Not a lot, a little bit. Splay that out and then pull some of these lighter hairs. Again, don't worry about going over the black eyelids. You can go back and fix those after. I'm going to bring some of this down. I don't want it too white, so if I think that the white is getting too white, I will go back and I will add some of the dove gray instead. So as you can see, some of the black on the, I was heavier here than I was there. So I'll have to go back and maybe pick up some more black, splay that out, and make these even a little bit darker. You can even go a little bit wider. And see how you can just keep playing with that, and you can definitely need to splay that out. A little here. Put a little bit here. You can go either way. You can go into it or away from it there. So real technical on that. It's just layers and patience. And more of the gray. You feel you lost it. If too much dove gray is showing through. Don't forget to bring some of that back over the black so it looks more natural. I see what I did here is I kind of went up with my strokes versus down. You know, again, left, it's like whatever is you're comfortable with doing, like, you know, the stroke work and stuff. You can always go left or the right easier than you can one way or the other. But that's okay. I'm going to pick up some of that dove gray, splay that out, and let's bring some of that dove gray into some of these areas to kind of just soften these areas. I think I'm going to go and add some more black to the area where the nose, that area on this side. Down. So that goes into the gray. Add the darker gray and bring the eye a little bit more. So yeah, when you're painting this, you're not going to want to stop halfway through like I did and just do half and do the other half days later. You're going to want to do it all at the same time because you'll have your mojo going. So you're going to want to, it's like crocheting or knitting or anything. When you pick it up the next day, you have a different tension. So I'm going to add a little bit of this black. It might be too dark. I want to come away from the nose with it a little bit. I should have gone graphite. So it's all a matter of playing and adding a lot of layers. When that's done, you're going to go back and you're going with your liner brush and you will fix whatever areas of the eye that you feel you went over and you didn't mean to. And then some of these white lines I actually punched up by using my liner brush and pulled them away from the eye. So you can pull some of these single hairs using your liner brush just to give a little bit more call to the eye and not other parts of the face that you don't want to have it be necessarily getting the attention. So pull these lines away. And see how this highlight softened out? So now it's kind of dull. You can go back with your liner brush, some clean water, wipe over that area, And put a little bit back. Let's see if that helps. Let's see what else. I'm going to go over here and just look at that side. Next is, I don't know, somehow I feel like I was just being a little safe on these colors. So I'm going to go and add a little bit more of the black, a little bit wider in some areas. Bringing it down over here. Bring it down. And then go back with the white. Especially around the eye. Okay. All cats have different markings, so and they're not really symmetrical, but I seem to have the need to make mine a little symmetrical, but that's okay, right? It's all good. Now I'm going to take back to my number 1 round and some lamp black and add those dots where the whiskers come out of. Some irregular pattern of dots. And with that fine liner again, and a little bit of moisture in my brush, in that lamp black, and pull some whiskers out and away, out and away. Have them start in different areas, be different lengths, go in different directions. And if your cat has eyebrows, you can always pluck some eyebrows in there too, I suppose. But I'm going to take my flat brush with a soft line of the graphite, soft side load, and I'm going to go under the eye. And I'll do the with black. I'll do it under his or her, whatever it is for you, mouth. If you want to carry the fur lines down over the edge, you can go right ahead and do that. or just leave them kind of floating off. But that is the cat. And trick of it is, if you're not sure how it looks, take a photograph of it and then look at it through your camera's eye. And if it looks like, you know, someone else painted it, then you've succeeded, right? It's better than you hoped. Because we can be very critical of ourselves when we're doing this. The nose was, what I did was I kind of had this triangle thing going here. A little bit of a curvature in that. And then I put a little bit of this black, made little nose holes on the sides with the black. Then took my fine liner with the black and started about one third or 1/4 of the way down and put this thin line in the middle of the nose and then curve to the right and curve to the left. And that's how I made that. And then took the liner with some dove gray and I went around the nose holes. I gotta go around the other side here. So I went around that nose hole on that side and I'll go around the one on this side. And then tapped on it to soften. If you have a thick enough mouth and you want to put a little bit of highlight on there just to show it up. And can you see that? Let's see if I can. So the end of the nose, you can even go in and do a little touchy of a side load at the bottom of the nose. So that's pretty much that. What else? Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so, but if you have any questions, I'll go to Kathy in a second and just darken this area right under his eye. There we go. Okay, Kathy, it's your turn.
It needs practice, believe me. My fur doesn't, I'd have to really layer it better.
Oh, cool. Yeah, have it overlapping each other, but it's really cute.
Oh, okay. It needs practice.
But the eyes are really what makes it. The rest of it, because you have like an impressionistic cat with the fur part, but the eyes really come across, and that's what speaks to you. And so when those eyes come across, the rest of it kind of is like, you know, you got the eyes. That's wonderful. Okay.
I'll do a new one before it's submitted.
Okay. So I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to take out the lady, the angel. And on the angel, I prepared it the same way, but I base coated this with 2 or 3 coats of the Fleshtone. Then I put on my line drawing, and I took some light cinnamon, and a little bit of Fleshtone, and I created, I'm going to use my one round. I created a little bit deeper Fleshtone, and I based in the pinks of the eyes, the area that's the pinks of the eyes. So it's a little deeper than what is on the flesh itself. You can take your fine liner, and this will help you a lot. And you can line the eye on the top and on the bottom. And the left and the right eye are not always the same, I'm sure. I have one eye that's open bigger than the other. Most of us do, I believe. I'm also going to take this color and I'm going to line the part that is above, like the eyelid, where the eyelid, a little bit of that, where the eyelid goes into the head, if you will. That crinkle in your eye is. I'm not sure if it goes as far out as I have it here, but maybe on this side it does. Melissa's in the house.
Hello.
Look at your eye.
This is about eyes, right?
Yes, and we're just starting on the eye. Do you want to tell us the word of the day?
Angel eyes. Angels. You're an angel, Cindy Harrison. You're my angel. You're so sweet.
So you wrote here, and this is Melissa's card.
My affirmation deck.
There you go.
And I just want to say hi to everybody. And thank you for letting me call in today. I'm sorry I was at a conference in Las Vegas. But I do have my book right here. And the angel card says, angels are everywhere. They listen, deliver messages, guide, protect, help, love, and soften the blow. And all you have to do is look in the mirror to see one.
There you go.
There you go.
So, and everybody here are angels for showing up every week.
That's so true.
Whether they're on the road or in the studio.
We're in the Jeep right now. I just went over some train tracks. But I just wanted to pop in and say hello and hope that you're all doing well. I want to see those angel eyes. Are you at a point where I can see what you've done so far?
Oh, you want to see? I'll show you what Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Show Melissa what you've done.
Well, I've done the cat eyes, which neat.
How cute.
And so yeah, there those are, Melissa.
Look at that. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Let me see the other one.
So we're just getting started on her.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So
the cat's awesome too. I'm going to have to do this on the replay.
And well, I'm free tonight when you get home.
Well, anyway, heading inside and I'll check back with you guys in a little while, okay?
Okay, take care, Mom. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me continue working on this. So we put that line up there. Now I'm going to also do the eyebrow. And if you want to do a very fine line here, you can, but I would just really, I didn't do that. I just went with the light cinnamon. When you pull the eyebrows, I like to start from the corner of the eye. So think of where the corner of the eye is here. And start by pulling some straight up. And I'm pushing away from myself, which is really not comfortable for me. I like pulling toward myself better. So I'm going to turn it around and pull up from that corner of the eye, a little straight up. And then I'm going to start fanning it out this way. They get a little longer. And pretend that imaginary line comes over. And I'm going to then bring that over, make it a little thicker in the middle here. And a little thicker at the corner of the eye. Start straight up. And then you start fanning it out so they lie down. So pretend you're taking your pencil eyebrow brush there and you're brushing those to lie down. Lie those down. If they get a little unruly, go in and take your brush, your clean brush, and kind of wash off what you don't like. So right now, take that water off. I'm going to make them a little thicker up here. I don't want it to be too, no offense, Brooke Shields, but I also don't have pencil lines. I want some, a little bit of hair there. And then lie right down. Okay. So we painted we outlined our eye and the little crease for the eyelid with the light cinnamon or light cinnamon plus Fleshtone here. Did this in light cinnamon. The white of the eye is obviously the white part is white. And if you lost it or you need or misshapen it, you need to reshape it, go right ahead and reshape it. Now the trick of the eyes are, she's just looking straight at us. So you're not going to see, it's not like you see a whole round circle. The eyelid is on the top and the bottom. Therefore, you're only seeing the center centered half of the eye. There's a quarter on the top and a quarter of the eye that's hidden by the eyelid. Now, if you're laughing or smiling, this bottom eyelid actually will start to curve up into the eye and you'll see less of the eye. So if you have a jolly old elf, St. Nicholas, and he's smiling really, big at you, you're going to put that eye up into it. So you'll see even less of the iris and less of the whites of the eyes. I think what happens a lot of times, we make the iris and the pupil a full round so you see the whole circle, and it looks really odd because really what happens is that it looks like you're doing this. Mm-hmm. And that's not really the painting you want to show people. So you see when I laugh, my cheeks go up so you see less of my eyes. But if I'm just looking at you, you'll see the whites. So that's what you want to consider when you're painting, and not have them be bugging out at you. I painted that white. This I painted with, I gave her blue eyes. So I started with the Blue Harbor. So you can do a coat of Blue Harbor there. With my one round. And depending on how much she's smiling will determine how much of the bottom of the iris you see. But mine's just looking at you, watching what you're doing. You need to clean up the white. You can do that. While that's drying, the pupil is black. Black. And while that's drying, I'm going to go and pull out some burnt umber. And I'm going to finish off with the line work on the eyebrows with the burnt umber. A little bit of moisture in your brush. And then I'm going to pull some of those up from the base. I don't make them as thick or as long necessarily as the light cinnamon. I don't want to cover all the light cinnamon. I just want to add some variation. I think I need some more light cinnamon because the other side got a little bushy, so I can add some more of that. There we go. Okay. In the pinks of the eyes, I'm going to pick up some of the straight Fleshtone. And like we did on the cat, have it be a little on the drier side. And just add a little bit of a highlight and tap it out. A little bit of a highlight over here and tap it out. Because you want it like the light is hitting it. Okay, I see this side's a lot darker than that side, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the cinnamon to my mix. That's light cinnamon plus Fleshtone mix. On the eye, where the whites of the eye are not always pure white, we're going to shade it with some blue violet. And it's going to go across the white and the blue harbor part. So I'm going to take my 14 flat and I'm going to pick up a little tiny side load. Stay out of the puddle because you don't want a lot of paint. You just want it to fade away real fast. And I'm going to start at the white of the eye. And depending on what's happening in your atmosphere, you might find the need to have to re-wet. Because I'm finding my AC is blowing on my painting. So it is a little bit more. I'm going to come across and tap it out. So it goes across the blue harbor and the white. Now I gave mine a little bit of an eyeshadow, not that you can tell, but if you want to give her a little bit of an eyeshadow, I use the Blue Harbor and a lot of water. And I started on the inside of her eye, came over that line a little bit, the eyelid line. And ended right above that, and took my mop brush and mopped it out. So back a little bit on that. So I probably am a little heavier on the left and on the right than on the left, but it's okay. Next, if that's dry, what I'm going to do is take a side load of the light cinnamon and I'm going to come down from the bottom of the eyebrow with the paint toward the line, and I'm going to just add a soft float, tap it out of color there. You can go in. The paint is going towards the nose. The paint part of the brush goes towards the nose, and the water end of the brush is to the outside. I don't want her to have too big of a nose. So this one here, I'm going to now with my fine liner brush pick up some of the blue violet, and I'm going to line around the outline of the iris. With a little soft, I'm going to try it with my round brush, but I'm going to flatten my round brush, pick up some white and pick up some of the blue harbor and mix a new color. Take out the water, and I'm going to just touch down on the blue part, what would be the lower left hand side of the eye. If there's not enough white, go pick up some more white and just touch down that area right in there. Add a little bit of a highlight on the blue area. Going back to my liner brush in that blue harbor. This time, the cat, we drew the lines for the eyes up from the outside in. Now on the woman, the angel, we're going to go from the pupil out. So from the pupil out, needs a little moisture. Sometimes if there's too much water or they're too dark, you just tap on them and they'll settle down. Settle down. Make sure you blow dry that before you go on to the next step. And that next step will be highlighting the whole eye. And that one I'll use my one round, and I will take some clean water and I go over it with the clean water, pick up some white, and then add a highlight. This one's going to go a little bit over the iris into the pupil. Put some over here, make that a little. So, and sometimes, so you don't want to go all the way up, wash off excess that you don't want. You have to go back a couple times because the water that you put on there might diminish some of that white. I also added that light cinnamon plus Fleshtone mix line under the eye. It's not a big baggy eye, but there's just a little bit of a crease there. Forgot about that one. It's like the thickness of the eyelid, the eyelash, the eyelid where the eyelash comes out of. That's what that is. So I have to put a little bit more highlight on this one. Kind of like this is lighter, so I need to make this a little lighter. Soften up that. There we go. Much better. While that's drying, I'm going to pick up a little bit of the carousel pink. And I added this because I just felt she needed a little bit of a punch up on her cheeks. So I took my number 8 dome round and I picked up some of this pink, wipe it out there, then go to a dry piece of paper towel and wipe off most of it and blush some of this on her cheek area. A little too pinky there. But I don't know if you can you see that? So this way here, it makes her look a little bit warmer than there you go. Okay, now that the other part should be dry by now, we're gonna start doing eyelashes. And the eyelashes I'm gonna do again with my 10-aught brush. This time I'm gonna use black. So some water in your liner, make it kind of inconsistency. And then I roll my brush out. And I'm going to, on the bottom, it's going to be real easy. I'm going to line the eye from the outside of the eye to about within 1/8 of an inch in my case. I would say 7/8 of an inch across, if you will, below the light cinnamon line. So I'm going to start from the outer edge and come down right below it. And I'm going to bring it to just shy of the edge of the eye, of the inside corner. Then I'm going to take the color and pull. The ones on the inside kind of lean toward the inside. The ones in the center go straight down. The ones on the outer edge will curl outwards. So let's try this and see what trouble I get myself into. I'm going to start short, 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 short. As I get to the center, I start pulling them a little longer and pulling them straight down. So you're going to graduate, and then you're going to start pulling them out a little longer, a little longer, a little longer, and then end. So these don't look as pretty. They're not as cover girl as the ones on the other side, but you can start over the black line in that area if you want to. Okay. The top eyelashes. Similar situation, only I'm curving them to the left or the right depending on where they are situated on her eye. I turn it over. I start short on the inside and get longer, longer, longer. So short on the inside. And also too, as I get to the ones on the outer side, I'm going to show you a trick there. So I'm going to go a little longer, 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 longer. Be a little bit more thoughtful of placement. And then I'm going to pull. Now, as I get to the outer part of her eye, pull up that line. Again, just starting from inside. Now we're going to pull up that line. This time I'm going right over the light cinnamon. When I get to the pupil area, I'm going to start curving the eyelash up. Curve it up, start back, curve it up, start back, curve it up, start back, curve it up. And that's how I'm doing those. I can't do that necessarily on the inside, but I can do it on the outside. So start at that black and pull it up. If you feel like you need to go back in with either the Blue Harbor or the Fleshtone, you can do that. Tap it out. Erase your graphite lines. I didn't go crazy on the face with highlights and stuff like that. You can put up here, you can put angel or whatever you want, but pretty much if you really don't like it, just go and wipe it all out and start over. But really, this is, you know, we're not looking for perfection here. We're just looking for showing you a technique that will help you not to be afraid to try this on your own down the road. If you wanted to give her bangs, there's some hair coming down over her forehead. However you want to do it. So I'm going to look at, let's look at spotlighting Kathy.
Well, again, needs practice, but there.
Oh, very nice. So the blue iris of your eyes could be a little, or is it that white? Is it white? Maybe it's the whites of your eyes that are too big.
Could be the whites, the lower part.
Yeah, the white's too big. You can make the blue bigger.
Oh, okay.
You can make the blue bigger, only because you have a big eye to begin with. Right. So you can make the blue bigger, and that will bring down the white. But otherwise than that, they are very stunning.
Well, I don't know, but I'll take your word.
Yep, and you don't need to bring the eyelashes out to the farthest of corners. If you do, they kind of lie down more than go up.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I'm showing you my face, and that doesn't help you because you're not seeing my face at all. Hold on a second. Ah, that's funny.
Okay, I see there.
So when you get to here, they kind of lie down.
Okay.
Rather than going up, they're kind of lying down.
All right.
And they don't have to both bottom and top touch the corner.
Oh, all righty.
So you can stop a little bit short on the bottom, and I don't necessarily start them all the way inside either.
Oh, okay.
But I'll show you up close.
Oh, okay. That makes sense to me now.
So I always leave a little bit in the pupil area, in the pointy part area that doesn't have any.
Okay.
Okay. So
Plus, I need to outline the pupil,
the
blue,
iris?
the iris with the blue violet, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I didn't do that. So I'll be able to do that then.
Right.
I did it on canvases, so they really aren't. They aren't doing as well as if I done like on a solid surface like you.
It's not as smooth, right? It's not as smooth at all, right? You're right. I'll say adios for today. And thank you, ladies, for joining me here. And if you have to get a hold of me, Cindy at cindyharrisonart.com. You can find me there. You can check out the replays on cindyharrisonart.com under Paint with Heart. And I forget what the last one is I posted. It might have been the Purple Haze. Might have been the last video I posted. I'm not sure. I remember working on it. That's about it's all becoming a blur to me. We wish Melissa well and get home safely on your travels. And until next week, always remember to paint with heart.
Like your background.
Thank you.